Hey, this is Gordon Beck. I'm the lead guitarist and founding member of Cut to Black. I'm a producer that's been making music for probably 5, 6, maybe even 7 years now. And I started this band back in 2018 pretty innocently, thinking that it was going to be just making some catchy, badass rock and roll music that I've always wanted to do, but for some reason never did with any of my solo stuff. But the band quickly became one of the most personal artistic projects I think I've ever done. There's a lot of personal meaning tied into the songwriting that has to do a lot with some really close to home things that I've dealt with my whole life and have really had a lot of meaning for me in just the past couple of years. So it's there's a lot of heart in this band, and this album, which I'm excited for everyone to listen to. I've always loved really heady, dark, kind of experimental underground music, really out there stuff. But I've also always enjoyed really catchy pop, really accessible sort of stuff. And what's really intrigued me is ways to combine both of those things, like make music that's very out there, but still is like really immediate to the listener and really fun to listen to. And that's what I wanted to do with Cut to Black. I wanted to make stuff that was very, very catchy, a lot of attitude, very fun, but still had a lot of weight to it, emotional weight, as well as having just weird, unconventional sort of musical ideas tied in at the same time. The band didn't really develop an identity of its own. It was sort of just a Death from Above cover band at first, because that's a band that at the time I was really obsessed with and still am. But other projects took over my time for quite a few years. But it wasn't until I had a really eye-opening time in my life that things started to really click for me. I've always struggled a lot with just being happy and dealing with a lot of negativity with the world and other people. It feels kind of cliche to talk about being a struggling artist. You know, it's very cliche, or it feels like that. But it's true. And I didn't always understand why I felt certain ways or why I was struggling in ways that I was. But in the last couple years, I had some really eye-opening experiences and I guess like sort of therapeutic breakthroughs where things just started to really make sense for me, like why I was feeling the way I was. And these things that I've struggled my whole life with, like they started to actually make sense to me, which was really overwhelming. And I guess through all of this, art has always been the thing that's like made the most sense to me and has always had meaning and purpose for me, even when I feel totally hopeless or like nothing makes sense or whatever. Like art was always there. Art was always the draw that I had, that like that's something I can do that makes sense, that I'm good at, that allows me to express feelings and make sense of things that I couldn't otherwise. And that's when Cut to Black really clicked for me, was that this understanding that I had within myself and this sort of catharsis of like finally being able to make sense of and do something about these things that I was having trouble with for my whole life. I like really deep stuff, long-standing stuff that I was able to find the perfect avenue to express that with Cut to Black. That's the band just made sense that was the avenue that I could put that in art and put that out there. Cut to Black, and more specifically our debut album Pleasure Room, to me, are about hedonism. I had learned and realized that a lot of my life was coping, even using my art as a sort of coping mechanism to get by. But I think the songs are about being able to find yourself in the darkness, and be able to live with your demons and understand what those demons are and what you can do about them instead of just ignoring them and trying to get by. It's about self-understanding and learning to have empathy for yourself and for other people, and not just live for pleasure. I think the album tries to capture a lot of the feelings of the temptation that those demons that you live with can have on you, and how easy and often enjoyable it can be to give in to them. But ultimately, that you can find a way to live a better life, actually face your problems, live a better life with some real meaning in it. This has been Gordon Beck from Cut to Black. Pleasure Room comes out the tail end of this year. Thanks for listening.